Good morning and welcome to the Metadime channel. I am Vicki Helm and this is the Coffee Break Show. Today is Wednesday Welcome and we have this incredible guest and we are going to start in 3, 2, 1. Let's do it. Okay, so this is the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vicki Helm. If you're new here and you've never been to the Coffee Break Show, welcome. We go live Monday through Friday and we share tips, tools, techniques, inspiration, motivation, and we help create thrivability in the world. And through our broadcasts right now, we get the best of the best people on and we help you have solutions that you've never thought before and never that are implementable now. And today, I have one of my favorite people on in the whole world. This is somebody who helps me thrive, and she is going to share with you today all kinds of things publishing. So if you're new, put your name down below so we can see you and you can participate in the conversation and you can say hello to people and you can be here. And so we have people like here just coming on board. Thank you for being on board. Put your name down there. If you are on YouTube and you're doing YouTube Live, welcome. I'm so glad you've joined us today. And hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button as we go live every single day. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about Linda because Linda is an innovator, one of the smartest women in publishing I know. I know this because she is my publisher. So look at this, publishing, not finishing. Yes, that's right. Go for it. Sean, this is going to be great. I want you guys to meet. I've taken you back. It used to be that I was very sporadic and I only would say, I'll introduce you to Linda if this is done, if this is etc. But today, it's so important to listen to what is happening in the world and how publishing can help people. I knew I had to have Linda on. So please help me welcome. Thank you. Please help me welcome Linda Stirling from the Publishing Circle. Thank you for being here, my friend. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. Being able to just see your face and share things with people that follow you, because I know only the best people are going to be part of your big team, because you include everybody. So I'm happy to be here, and there's so much to share too. So it's fun for me to kind of open the eyes and share what's new with a lot of people who are interested in publishing.
Yeah, this is one of the greatest things ever. And what I like and we're going to probably do a little bit of the State of the Union of the publishing industry right now so that people understand it. But what I want to say is publishing is one of the best go-to places that you can do right now. One of the best things that you can have for yourself. And I love this. Just started writing, very excited about my project. These things are good. Now, the gatekeeper to the publisher is tough to get through. But today we're going to talk about why publishing should absolutely be in your life. And I'm wondering, Linda, can we just let's just start with the State of the Union of the industry of publishing. Why is it important? Why is it important for everyone to be a published author?
Well, I want to address that. But one thing, because I know that we may not come back to that, is you talked about gatekeepers. So let's address that a little bit further. But with some publishers like me, there is no gatekeeper.
That's right. And that's why you're here.
Yeah, I'm easy to get to, and I look at everything. So back to, state of the industry. One of the things that's going on, and I like to kind of put things in two different baskets. There's big publishing, and then there's independent publishing, two different animals. So for big publishing right now, it's not looking very good. I just got information a couple of days ago from, it was Publishing Perspectives. And they said that 39 million books will not be published this year. Those are decisions from the big publishers that they tally. Yeah, pretty serious. And in the last month's statistics, book sales for big publishers were down 38%.
Wow.
So let me throw in another statistic that isn't, great for a lot of people to hear, in that Barnes and Noble, and of course, bookstores are closed right now, but Barnes and Noble has let their publishers know that they're only going to be paying a third of what they owe them. A
Wow.
third. So big publishing is in a pretty uncomfortable, let's just
Yeah. Teetering.
predicament right now. How that affects authors is a lot of authors who may have had their heart set on getting one of the big five publishers, that door is pretty much closed for you. They're going to be publishing those authors that they've had long-term success with. They're
Yes.
not going to be gambling on new authors. So that door is essentially closed for you.
Wow.
An exception might be, if you have 500,000 followers, yeah, they might look at you, but that's not most people. So those are the big changes with traditional publishing, and you can understand why too, because of their publishing model.
Yeah.
So their model is just way different,
It's
and
old and outdated.
yeah, and as you know, Vicki, that was one of the reasons I started my company, is I wanted something totally different. But they have the huge expenses, including, they've got these big buildings in Manhattan that they have to
Pay for.
pay for. They have huge staff,
Expensive.
which those staffs have been pretty much laid off now. They also, with their publishing model, they'll print in bulk, and then they have storage costs on that, additional shipment costs, because they're shipping to places. So they store, then they ship to places like Amazon or Barnes and Noble or whatever. So the model is just simply more expensive. And that's one reason they pay authors a whole lot less too.
I have to say, there's already questions coming in, and one of them is, will traditional publishing even be viable going forward? And I think that's an interesting question. Will it be viable for you, or viable for the industry, for these big publishers? We're talking State of the Union right now, and the big publishers have been hit really hard. It's expensive to run the overhead of these big publishing companies right now, when there are other platforms. But what would you say? Will traditional publishing even be viable going forward?
Well, they've been doing some things even before we had the last couple of months occur, and doing a lot of consolidation. So they're merging with each other. I think that they finally realized that business as usual isn't working, which is something that smaller publishers like myself have known for a while. And we have the ability to be flexible because we're not anchored in the same way that they are.
That's true.
So I think that, to answer that question, I think big publishing will continue. Books are always going to be sold. People love books and want books. Is it going to be different? I think it will. I think that, as I said a little earlier, it's going to be harder to get into big publishing, but that's not the only game in town. The non-traditional publishing, either with a small independent publisher or even self-publishing, that's flourishing now. And that's where I think the bright news is in the whole conversation.
Yeah. And I think what is interesting about the publishing is. You always think you need a publishing house for distribution, this big publishing house, that's all it offers is distribution. Well, if all you have is distribution and that's it, and you're not a big name, I don't think that's the way to go, because there is this one important thing, and that is marketing. And I want to go to marketing your books and being out there, and how do you get your books out there? And to me, the 800 per pound gorilla in the market is obviously Amazon. And I think bookstores, I want to let you, do you have any idea the ratio between online sales and inside bookstore sales? Like if you're going for distribution, but you're only getting a third of what you're owed and things are getting smaller, and that doesn't seem like the right move. What would you say about, having your book in a bookstore versus online? What's the difference there?
Well, always you should have both. So one of the issues with traditional publishing is that what I call the all-in-one basket affliction. so they'll have bookstores. They also have Amazon, and some, as anyone would know, would have airports where no books are right now. So they go with the places that they're most comfortable with, that they've traditionally gone with. For the smaller publishers and self-publishers, you want to go broad. You don't want all your eggs in one basket. Amazon, talking about that 800-pound gorilla. So Amazon too has done some things that give me pause for concern lately. And one of those things is that they sent out notices that they would not be paying the same percentage on affiliate sales. So a lot of people rely on those whole industries built around affiliate sales on Amazon. And the bottom line with them is they're a business that can do whatever they want. They could say, well, we've decided we're paying authors less, or we're not paying out every month like they currently do. So that's another reason why you want to go what's called wide. You want your books selling definitely on, don't abandon Amazon. Don't abandon the bookstores, especially those bookstores that will sell your books as ebooks, which is another conversation we can have. But you want to go broader than that. You want to be in Kobo, for example, or there's just so many platforms. For ebooks, I've got platforms that touch every single country in the world. And now the print sales those doors have opened up too, because a lot of people still do like print, of course. And I do that shift.
I love the feel, and I am one of those people, it doesn't matter what book I have, it's yellowed and marked up, and there's something about doing that I really enjoy as well. And we're looking at the industry right now, and I want to talk about marketing. I want to talk about marketing your book and how to get it out there. And I want to really get specific with the publishing circle, because I think that your modus operandi for business is what's making you an industry leader and an innovator at the same time. And one of the things that most people don't know is they still have in mind, for some reason, I don't know why, they still have in mind that the best thing for their book is to have that big publishing house. But I can tell you from experience, that is not the greatest thing to be in. And I will never, never, never do it again. And so could you tell us a little bit more about why you do what you do? How will you do what you do? And let everybody know about the circle.
Okay. Well, as you well know, Vicki, you came to me because you'd been with some of those big publishers and had that firsthand experience of what didn't work. So one of the things that I think that is not clear to a lot of writers who are trying to get a publisher is exactly how publishers work. So the big publishers, They are going to require of any author that you present to them your marketing plan. Your marketing plan. They don't have a marketing plan for you. Their marketing that they do, with the exception of the really big names that have been selling, thousands and thousands of books, sometimes even a month for decades, their marketing plan is probably going to be that they put a little ad in Publishers Weekly, depending on how important they think you are. It might be a line ad that's a couple of sentences. Maybe they include you in the flyer that they send out or the email that they send out to libraries. And that's it, folks. So if you think that marketing is, you're going to hand your book over and suddenly the marketing is going to just be handled, that's not correct. That, maybe 20 years ago, maybe even, well, probably 15 years ago, but it just doesn't happen. You have to do the marketing. And, that's something with authors in general is we tend to be pretty shy. I know I sound like an extrovert right now, but I'm actually an introvert.
But you're doing so well, and I love that about you.
but you, as an author, you do need to think about what you're going to do to share your book. Now, if you're with a smaller publisher or if you're self-publishing, you don't have to have the kind of marketing plan that is going to impress big publishers. What you do have to have, and they want one big push, what you have to have is a steady stream of consistent pushes, whatever size you're capable of. And so what that can look like is first of all, you want to make sure that if you're self-publishing, you go wide. If you're with a publisher, you want a publisher who goes wide. You also want to look at what are the existing platforms that you're on. And then I think the most important thing for authors right now is to have a public face. So that doesn't mean that you just put up an image of your book. It means that you get tough on yourself and you do video, because people want to relate to people more than ever before. So if you just do that one thing so that you slowly build your connection, and if you don't know what to say, read your book. Go. Yeah, because that's what I hear a lot is, I don't know what I'd say. Why are people going to want to listen to me? They would listen to a story. So, maybe it's 5 minutes, and then the next day it's 5 minutes more, and you keep a list or a location rather where people can go back and listen. And surprisingly, people who listen will also buy the print, ebooks, or audio. So you're not harming your sales by doing that. But people really want that personal connection. Now, the other thing is we talk about marketing, and we lump marketing in with advertising. They're really distinctly different. So as you know, Vicki, one of the things that I do is I do the perpetual advertising with my model. Traditional publishers are not doing that, and most, in fact, I don't know of any actually indie publishers who are doing the ongoing marketing.
I want to interrupt here because Linda is being shy around here. I've seen Linda get somebody to the bestseller list in 1 hour. 1 hour from the time the book went live. So there's not, this is a person who knows how to get you there in that way through marketing and everything else. But she's so right. When we look at publishing right now, there is a difference between marketing and advertising. And marketing is the big chunk of what I think is the responsibility of the author. It's like those days of having that book go out and then this other agency just markets it until it hits that. That's like 1% of the people. If you really want sales for your book, you really want to get out there, you do have to have a marketing plan that continues. Not, well, I marketed it once, I hit the bestseller once, and now I'm going to just stay here on the bestseller list and everybody's going to see my name. It's that consistent marketing, that consistent effort. Today's market has publishers and the authors working together. It is a co-creative relationship, a very co-creative relationship. And the thing is, a lot of times when we think we get a publisher, we want to push everything we're frightened of doing or we think we don't know how to do onto our publisher and say, you're supposed to do this for me. And in today's market, unless you're, Janet Yovanovitch, you're not going to get that kind of help because everyone builds their own platform. And she said something that was very interesting earlier about how we can begin to help ourselves achieve our goals in publishing. Super, super important. I want to pop over here. Everybody has been talking a mile a minute. Here, I want to go here. When you market your book, a long, consistent launch keeps the same as running. Number 2, create a personal connection. Don't post a pic of the book. You talk about your book in your video. You definitely, and if you don't know what to talk about, go read your book. So that cracked me up. Linda's gotten at least one author on the New York Times bestselling list in 1 hour. So we're looking at how this is great advice, may not have been intuitive. Thank you for capturing that. Yes, everything about publishing is so important right now. And I want to make sure that this is a co-creative process. It's no longer just here it is. So one of the things that you can start, she said, do a video, then another video, then another video, then another. It's a consistent daily action that helps you promote your book long term. Let me ask you, Linda, do you actually would you suggest for authors that are new, how does this go? Because I know in the beginning, back in the day, so I think I wrote my first book in 1997 or whatever, and I had a traditional publisher back then as well. And when I wrote that first book, I did not build an audience first. I threw the book out and then I built an audience, and that was to me harder. Mm-hmm. And now I think, do I build the platform first and the audience first and then incorporate the book from that? Or what is your suggestion for somebody who's just starting out?
Well, I want to address platform a little bit more and then talk about that suggestion. Mm-hmm. So platform consists of how many people you can send a direct email to. So it doesn't mean if you've got 5,000 on Facebook and 5,000 on LinkedIn. It has to be who you can directly email. So that's capturing those email addresses. Mm-hmm. So the system has to be set up for that. So with traditional publishing now, whether you're acquiring an agent or going, and you really can't go direct to the big publishers anymore, you're required to have a publishing platform of 100,000. So they'll start listening to you at that number.
Wow.
One of the things, it's like, if you
why bother?
It's like, why would you need them?
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's different ways to approach it, and I believe in taking it from where people are at. So writers come to me all the time who they don't even know what a platform is, much less how to build one. And I think that that's okay. I start with people where they're at. Their books are not going to take off as fast as someone who has a platform. I mean, that's just the real scoop. But you can build your platform as you go. You can build that too with more books. So I think that in my book, a little play there on on books,
Mm-hmm.
but in my book, you start with where you're at and you build from there, whether you're building from ground zero or you're building from a stronger position. And
Beautiful.
because you're going to need to continue to build, your job is never done. And you just need to consistently work at getting people connected and engaged.
That's beautiful. Do you hear that? Your job is never done. This is what I always say. If you have one book in you, you have two. Linda, I need to go over here. People are talking a mile a minute and they want to say hi. It looks like your business model will prosper during these times, Linda. You're already innovated and in a position for this new paradigm in publishing. You're a true entrepreneur, and that is a fact. She is. We're scratching the surface today. A steady stream of consistent publishes is Linda's there. So I want to go here. Wow, Robin, so true. I've learned a lot more about publishing in the last few years. Promotion is the hardest. We got Eileen over here. I'm so excited about this. I love teaching and speaking, and I'm hoping my project brings on more teaching opportunities. And so I want to say right now, look at this. You want to get traffic you can own. That's the email list. Yes, hashtag. So we're looking over here. A great assessment, Donald. Companies like the Publishing Circle and Linda's Wisdom will succeed in this new publishing paradigm. And that's where we're at right now. That's the most important thing I can tell you, is that there is a new publishing paradigm. And I want to say this. You have to be careful out there. You have to be careful. There are good publishing houses and not good publishing houses. And I know that because this is my 5th or 6th publishing house. And I've been bitten in the butt a few times. And I'm telling you, when you land at a good publishing house, when you land there, if you're fortunate enough and smart enough from this conversation to be involved with Linda, with your book, when you get to a good publishing house, plant your roots there. It's a co-creative process. Everybody rises together. When you are working with somebody who values you for more than just the number that you are, you can work well together. And I want to talk about that next, Linda. I want to talk about how to work with your publisher well, because a lot of people think, well, my book's all that in the bag of chips, and now that you have it. And how do you work well with someone? What are the factors that you look for when you choose your authors to come on board?
Well, the number one thing, of course, is a great book. And sometimes the books that come in need a little shaping, but if the foundation is there, then I get excited about it. But the other component for me, and it was something that I decided, both because I wanted to create an entirely different publishing format, framework for the publishing industry. And it was a decision because I'm older, and I thought, I'm just not working with anybody that I don't like. So I interview people and I see if we kind of click, because I'm going to be working with them for decades. Now, that isn't the formula for other publishing houses. There's
That's right.
small ones that, yes, you'll be able to talk to the publisher, but most of the time, I'd say probably 98% of the time, you don't talk with the publisher. They're going to hand you off to someone, and they'll communicate with you when they need something. Otherwise, there's no communication.
That's true. What's your thoughts on, I know my thoughts, but what's your thoughts of, trying to find a literary agent first? You can tell by the tone of my voice what I thought about literary agent first.
Yeah. So you've heard of the dinosaurs? So the literary agents are really falling away. That's become a not very profitable career. Because the big publishers are not taking on as many authors. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is, if you do obtain a literary agent, they're going to take 15% of everything that you make. And yes, they may introduce you to a publisher, but they're really not doing anything else. So what I'm seeing with literary agents in general is they're moving away, and they're teaching, or they're doing something else. But the herd is thinning there. Now, you only need a literary agent with some of the big publishers. For small independent publishers, would I accept something from an agent? Yes, if my two criteria, love the book, love the author, were there. But it's not necessary at all. In fact, I prefer to work just directly with the authors. So I think that, in short, Vicki, I think that that's going to be a career that quickly fades.
So tell us why. I mean, why is publishing? I have two questions, Linda. First, I want to ask fiction or nonfiction, and how to capitalize on both of them.
Okay.
And why is publishing just in general? I think it is a single skill that everybody should be taught right now. It's like in a tech school where you learn publishing and you learn plumbing or whatever else. Publishing should be the skill set. It is the number one skill set that has built my wealth. I'm so grateful to it. Is it a big learning curve? Yes. But is it going to be the future? You bet. Publishing is going to be great. People always look for books, stories, and answers. So starting right now, are we going to be looking at fiction, nonfiction, and how would you plan, say, your publishing path if you were a newbie?
I'd find someone like me.
That's true.
Someone that, and there's other people too, but someone who's willing to be a guide, who's going to be patient and answer your questions, because new authors have so many questions, and I don't think it's fair to leave them in the dark on processes. But the first thing that you want to do as an author is you want to make sure that your material's really in ship shape. So go through your manuscript thoroughly yourself, find some early readers. They're going to find things that you just will not see. Possibly get your book edited in advance. There's just a lot of things that you want to do to prep to be presenting your best possible manuscript. Then the next thing that you want to do is you want to find the kind of publisher that you feel comfortable with. Publishers are going to be connected to you for the lifetime of your book.
Yes.
And and let's come back to this about big publishers not publishing books, because I do want to touch on that, Vicki. But with any book, when a publisher takes it on, some publishers require that they have the copyright on the book. You want to run away from any of those deals. But if they have the publishing rights, regardless if they have the copyright or publishing rights, that lasts for the term of copyright. Now, the term of copyright of a book is the author's lifetime plus 70 years. Wow. So you kind of want to be with somebody that you like and is going to.
That's like Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say that those are the two primary things. Great book, find someone that you're comfortable working with.
Hey, do me a favor. Let's talk about maybe four things on a contract everybody should look for, and what it means to, look out for them. You mentioned when you were just talking earlier, anybody who wants to own the copyright, run away from them. So give us, like four things that we need to look for when looking at a contract.
Okay. So one of the other things that I built my business on was I felt, because I'm an author too, and I felt that I wanted to have better royalty rates. I didn't feel like the traditional publishing model was a good one. Excuse me. So look for what your royalty rates are. Traditional publishers are going to, at the highest level, and they're probably not close to that right now, they'll do 10%.
Yeah.
I decided for my company, I wanted to do 25%. So actually, I do 25% to the author. I take 25%, and then I put 50% of every dollar that comes in back towards the advertising.
That's right.
So you want to know what your royalty rates are. You want to know that you maintain the copyright.
Yes.
You also want to know what other rights that you have. Maybe you want to be able to, when events get going again, and they will, you want to be able to sell books at events. Well, does the publisher make that possible
Yes.
for you, and make that reasonably profitable, so you're not just handling books and getting, a pittance of the sale of those books. Another one would be severability, frankly. So
Yes.
that brings us back into the situation with big publishers. Authors want to see if there's a severability clause. And there's ways around that, as you know, Vicki, because I helped you get out of a situation that wasn't appealing. So those would be some of the core things. And another thing is, what are they going to do to advertise your book? If they're not spelling that out, they're not going to be doing anything. Oh, there's Ken. Hey,
I know Ken popped on, and I just wanted to say, hey, Ken, go Linda Stirling. There's the impact factor, man. And I want to say this right now, this dude here, right here, Papa Bear,
awesome.
this is so, yeah, he's so awesome. And he's also the guy that introduced me to Linda eons ago, and we have been close friends ever since. And thank you for that. I'm so glad. It's interesting because this is what came up. Sounds like you need a lawyer, not an agent. Yes, with those contracts, you have those things that you have to look out for. Okay, so if you want to add publishing as a part of your, I don't know, financial wherewithal, what would you say to the new person? Wait, first, Linda, it's over. I just realized I'm way over 30. Is it okay if we keep going?
Oh, absolutely. I love this stuff.
I know. And I'm like, it's like there's a lot of people on right now, and all 5 of them. And so listen, you guys, if you have questions for Linda, put them in there. I'm trying to notice you guys are talking really fast. I'm putting a lot of stuff up there, and I'm going to go ahead. I have Linda here, and I am going to have her tell us as much as she can about publishing, so that now. I want to tell you, I think, this is my personal opinion, publishing to me is the number one industry to be in right now. The number one industry. Going into the post-pandemic world and everything else, it's like when you get there, it's my questions too. Yes. If you have a question there, Scott, can you put it back in? Because it's rolling up so fast right now. I cannot keep up with people. I want to go here and just look at this. The Publishing Circle's expense breakdown: 25% of the author, 25% of the publisher, 50% back into expenses. Let me tell you something.
Actually, that's not correct. 50% does not. I take my expenses out of my 25%.
Ooh, goes back into advertising. Going back into advertising. And to my knowledge right now, she is the only publisher that does this. Her innovative system right now is it's why her business is exploding. It's also why her authors will go to the mat for her and really be there and do the work they need to do to help this process go. Because right now, what is happening in the world is we're in this huge transformation. every industry. Some industries are being wiped out, completely wiped out, and some industries are going to soar. So right now, I don't know anybody who's going to go buy a cruise and say, honey, let's go on a cruise ship. That's not going to happen. That industry is tanking. It's dead. You're going to be buying those ships for scrap metal later. But the industry of publishing is soaring. Okay, somebody wants to know right now. Here it is. I'm not even sure who that somebody is. Vicky, fiction versus nonfiction. Fiction versus nonfiction. You know what? I got to go here too, because I think that both are so enjoyable. But as a starting business, as that entry point, I want to let Linda tell you about the industry and the State of the Union there. Linda, fiction versus nonfiction.
Well, some people are only capable of writing fiction, and some, nonfiction, it's what they love. So you should do what you're good at, number one. As far as selling, right now, nonfiction is selling a little bit better than fiction, but there's always going to be a market for fiction. People want to be entertained. But I realized, Vicki, that there was a little tip I wanted to offer for those writers of nonfiction that I think is important for, however they publish, is try and build some things into your nonfiction that you can use as hooks to get people to engage with you further. Because nonfiction can be a really strong gateway into greater business opportunities. Nonfiction, anybody who writes or who has a business, rather, if they don't have a book, they're not seen as the kind of authority that they need to be seen as. And a book can then funnel into other things. But with the tips there too for nonfiction writers is put the kind of a link to a checklist or a PDF or something that people value in that book, so that you can then lead them to an opt-in page, or even lead them to a Facebook group. If you're like, I don't know what an opt-in page is and I can't build it, take them to a Facebook group, because you want to stay engaged with those people. You have one opportunity to do that when they read your book, and you want to take full advantage of that opportunity.
Thank you. That is brilliant marketing advice right here. And I'm going to go continue this. Christiane is asking, can you tell us more about the marketing? Do you do it in-house or have outsourced partners? Now, this is interesting because I know personally that you can buy your way onto the New York Times bestseller list. You can have. Say more about in-house or outsourced partners.
Hi, Christiane. Christiane was in a program that I just wrapped up on Friday called Author Camp. So I recognize her name from there. So what I do is I handle everything in-house. I do have independent contractors, but I teach them how to do things the way that I've learned to do it. Mm-hmm. With people who are sending all of that to another company, first of all, it's going to cost more. But I'm just seeing that there's not the kind of flexibility that I like to see in the market. The other thing for outsourcing the marketing of your book, and really we're talking about two different animals. There's either publicity or advertising.
Yep, that's it.
So if you're having someone else do your marketing, I can't remember the name of the company, but the one company that I know that does that, and there may be another one, they won't take you on unless you have at least 10 books published, and their costs start at $10,000 a month.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how expensive.
Not for the new author. You have to start out smaller than that, for most people. And you also, as an author, you have to be patient. You're not going to be, the best, most profitable author in 10 minutes. You have to be
That's right.
patient and hang in there.
You got to do the work.
Your visibility, especially if you don't have a platform, takes time to build.
Thank you. Next one, Aline, do you recommend waiting to speak with a publisher until your manuscript is completed, or contact them when you first start writing? Ooh, interesting question. I wonder this myself. Good question.
Okay. Thanks, Eileen. So there's two ways that I would answer that. With traditional publishers, and I don't know if you heard the first part of that, Aileen, but with traditional publishers, first of all, they're not taking on new people right now. But the old model for them was, if you had fiction, it had to be complete. If you had nonfiction, you needed a book proposal. So that's with the big publishers. With smaller publishers, it's going to vary. I've seen in my company, when I get a manuscript in, I'll look at it. The number one thing that I want for the book is I want it to be marketable. So I may send the author back to the drawing board with guidance. And I think that, that's a key factor too, is how much guidance can you get. With fiction, yes, you need to have your fiction done. Ideally, you've got the framework of your nonfiction pretty much wrapped up too, but some publishers will guide you more on that than others.
Thank you. That is so great. I want to continue on and stop. We got a lot of questions. My question was the dollar split between the interested and invested parties. Karen's question or statement. I'm not sure what that is. Scott, can you say more about what you're asking? My question. Do you know how to answer this one, or do you need more information?
Well, I think, Scott, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're asking about how the publishing circle does their split. So of every dollar that comes in from sales, my authors get 25 cents, I get 25 cents, and then 50 cents goes back into the advertising of the book. That's my model. It's not a model that anyone else has.
I hope that answered your question. And we have Kurt Howard. This is a good one right here. Is there a danger of having too much product, a quantity versus quality? I've read a lot of books lately that were really bad. Yes, like almost a contractual obligation, recycled content feel. This is thank you for this question, Kurt.
Yeah, great question, Kurt. You want quality. My position on this is a book is going to probably outlive you. And so how do you want to represent yourself? The other thing with your book is your book, if you want to keep people engaged with you, you have to produce quality. Those books that are poor quality, they may make some money off you one time. They'll never make money off you again. And they're probably going to garner really bad reviews.
Yes.
Which is going to mean that their sales will eventually be non-existent.
Yes.
Put the time in. Every time I see these, write a book in 90 minutes courses, my stomach just lurches, because those are not going to be quality. You can write your outline in that amount of time, but you're not going to write a quality book.
And I take that aspect of my work so seriously.
I know
it's like my level of excellence and how you're represented long-term, short-term. You can tell a book that has been done well, where somebody's actually put some thought into it. I think that's one of the most important things, a level of excellence in whatever you're writing. Linda, your legal knowledge in publishing is immense. Are you constantly studying publishing laws to stay ahead of the game? It's obviously you care about your authors. Yes, she does. And that's why she's here on this show. That's the one thing I looked for. 5, 6 publishers later, I was like, this person cares about me too. So yes, cares about your authors and why they stay with you for long term. Thank you for the question. How long are you studying all this? How much time are you spending getting to know every single law change that happens in publishing?
Well, first of all, thanks for the question and the nice comments too, Donald. I live and breathe publishing. I've been either selling my work or selling other people's work for, it's probably approaching, I think it's about 43 years.
Yeah, didn't you even sell movie manuscripts at one time to the movie theaters? I mean, you're pitching them.
So some of my authors I've been able to get movie deals for, yes. Yeah. So that's something that if the book warrants it, I then serve as a movie agent, which is totally different than publishing.
Cool.
And movie agents still are needed to get their foot in the door there. But yeah, I've done that. But I just, from morning to night and most of my weekends too, I'm living publishing because I really do love it.
I think that's so cute and sweet. You know, when you're passionate about something and you want to make an industry work or you want to make a difference in the world, it's amazing how obsessed you get with that. That's so cute. That's so cool. Let's see here. I'm going to go down, Karen. There's like, let's see. Let me go here. I understand I usually read the reviews to check out for content meeting expectations of the title. I like to read both 5-star and 1 and 2-star reviews. I look at the quantity of reviews. I also check in with friends. Who reads this? You know, what's interesting? I want to talk about the power of reviews and how you would help an author if you gave them advice. How would you set it up so that they got reviews? And if you're review bombed, what do you do when it's just a review bomb, not your book is a bomb?
Well, when people read through reviews, you can see when there's a 1-star review and somebody's just pissy. Or
pissy. They're review bombs. They're done purposely.
Yeah, but you can also tell if there's a bunch of 1 or 2-star reviews and they say, you know, this book hasn't been edited. Often you'll see, I don't know how they got any 5-star reviews. They must have been, you know, all their family, something like that. Mm-hmm. And people pay attention to those. So, you know, again, that comes back to writing a quality book. If you write a quality book, you're going to have people come to your defense and talk about why you're wonderful. You don't have to do that. So always write quality. The other thing that I'll share with reviews, just for people who maybe haven't published yet, is you want to be prepared to help your publisher get those first initial reviews.
Yes.
A lot of the places where, as a publisher, I can advertise, they won't even take my ad money if there aren't at least 10 book reviews. And then having reviews doesn't stop with your first reviews. You need to be getting reviews on an
consistent.
Yeah. One of the things with the Amazon algorithm is they'll put a book, maybe the sales are even, but one book has more reviews. That book is going to rank higher. And of course, rank affects visibility. That's going to always rank higher than a book with not very many reviews. And current reviews, having current reviews. If your reviews are 2 years old, I've talked with authors who couldn't figure out why their book wasn't selling, and I'd go to their page. I'd see they either didn't have more than a couple of reviews, or the reviews that they did have were 4, 5, 6 years old. You have to consistently work at getting more reviews, and you do that by continuing to engage with people and asking them to please leave reviews.
Asking, big key there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you can make it easy for them to leave reviews too. There's a program that I use for all of my authors called Spiral Share. I think you can get a month free on that. And I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but they'll allow you to show images of your book. They have a direct link where you can leave your reviews on Amazon. So if you take the time to set something like that up and you send people there, it makes it easy for people. And you always want to make it easy. You can even do samples of what people could say in reviews, because sometimes people need some ideas. So that's a tool that can be used. But bottom line is reviews are never finished. You need to continue with those. And I'm talking about individuals, not like Publisher Weekly reviews. You're only going to get those bigger reviews once.
You know, those are big. Somebody put the link right in there. There it is, Spiral Share. So I want to say this, we're heading at the top of the hour, and I have strung this out as much as I can. And I want to ask you, and I'm going to really put you out there because I know how good you are. And trust me, I have been in this industry for 20 years. It has fed me, clothed me, watered me, blessed me in so many ways. And I have worked with a lot of publishers, been through a lot. And she said earlier, Linda helped me get out of a situation. And I want to tell you, if you're going to be working with a publisher, she is the person to go to. Don't try to look out somewhere else, finding someone better. There isn't anyone better. How do they get involved with you, Linda?
You can either participate on my Facebook, in my Facebook group. Just send a request to join that. That's at The Publishing Circle. I give a lot of free information there.
Yes, she does.
Or send me an email at linda@The Publishing Circle. And obviously, in case it wasn't clear, my website is The Publishing Circle.
Are you accepting manuscripts right now?
I am.
Great.
And I publish in multiple genres, which is kind of unusual for smaller publishers. They tend to go with, one genre and really stick with that. But I get bored if I'm just doing one genre because I love so many different genres. So I do multiple genres.
Yes. And my point is this, that we curate our speakers and people who come on to the Smart Life Club. We are trying to create thrivability in the world. We only put people on this show that create thrivability in the world. We're very selective of who is here. We have the top industry experts come in and speak, and we actually have probably the top area where they're giving and they are so gracious with their time and their knowledge. And again, you have seen that today was no exception. We got an insider's look into an industry that is exploding right now. And it should be part of your financial wherewithal to have books and things out that are making you money passively. I want to say this. Scott said it again. There isn't anybody better than Linda Stirling. So if you have a book or an idea for a book, or you want to move forward with your book, and Linda accepts you into the publishing circle, she says yes to your manuscript and you, I would say that is a wise move for you. Linda?
Well, and I would just say, Vicki, if a book isn't for me, I'm going to tell people why. Most publishers won't do that. And I wanted to add one more thing in that one of my authors who just released 2 books, I'm doing another one for him here in about a week. I started out with saying how big publishing is really not doing well. This author of mine said he had the best month last month that he's had in 14 years in business. And that's with his nonfiction books.
And there you go. Nonfiction books, fiction books, nonfiction books. This to me has been so inspiring. You know, I love you to death, and I love that we're friends and colleagues as well. I absolutely enjoyed this. Listen, get involved with Linda. Go to her Facebook page, Linda Stirling, Stirling, on Facebook. Find her, especially if you're a new publisher. And I want to say thank you for sharing so much and being so generous with your knowledge. Thank you for telling young authors what things to look out for, so they don't go through what I went through or make the same mistakes I made that I had to be rescued from. Thank you for being so integrous in an industry that is fraught with unethical people out there doing unethical things. Thank you for joining us for the Coffee Break Show. Get in touch with Linda, be involved with her. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for all your questions. You're still going. I know this could go another hour and everything else, but I'm going to tell you thank you at the end of the show. Mwah! Bye. I will see you guys later. Thank you, Linda, for being with us.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.